Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the pilot episode of Cybervergent Leadership Series. A short talk show where we'll be listening to, or rather we'll invite thinkers, builders, and people that have really been in the industry, in the technology space in Nigeria. Our aim is to, as much as possible, bring people to come share their thoughts, share their journeys, and also to encourage people as well to be able to embrace technology as a career in Nigeria and also out of Nigeria. Joining me today are two people that, in the course of my lifetime, somehow I have a bit of history with both of them, and they'll be able to share their perspectives with us today. I have Adeoluwa from FC of Wema Bank, the CIO of Wema Bank, with us today, and Adetokunbo from Cybervergent, the CEO of Cybervergent. So Adeoluwa from Wema Bank, I'll refer to him as Ade, and Adetokunbo from Cybervergent, I'll refer to him as Tokes. I'm your host. My name is Bamidele Obende, and hopefully I'll be driving this conversation. We're trying to see what it's been like over the years, your journey in terms of technology. So I'll just ask 2-3 questions each, share your perspectives, we'll take it as a journey and see what we can make out of it. And I would like to start with Ade. Today you are a CIO. Just to ask, did you ever think you will ever rise to be a CIO? How did your career start? And today you are a CIO. What are the, should I say, challenges or the things you've learned along the way? And what has culminated into you being a CIO today? Just share with us your perspective.
Interesting question. I never thought I would be a CIO. So it's been a stop-start, how do they put it, sort of move in technology. So, back in the day, you start with user support and all that, and you rise, you become IT manager, everything, then it just sort of levels up from there. Yeah. But then in, think about 2005, 2006, security started creeping in. So back in the day, the IT manager would be the one doing everything, So I was working for an organization in the UK, and there was a restructuring. So I was part of some regional hub that was serving as third level support for IT managers in several regions. So they report their issues, you solve remotely or physically and all that. So there was a restructuring. The organization had to sort of downsize in some areas, and my regional hub was shut down. And I needed to, they had to find me another role. Because the other option was to come back to Nigeria.
And you were not ready to come?
Not that, it just wasn't an option, because I had packed all my load on my family. So we had not necessarily called a CISO. It was called a worldwide security manager. And really most of what security was doing then was around governance and things like that. Most of the tech stuff still sat in tech.
Domain.
Yeah. So that's how I stumbled into security. So I became the deputy worldwide security manager. Big title.
Wow.
So that's how the security journey started, and that went on for a while. I don't want to buzz with details. Ended up at Wema Bank to set up the security department. Did that for 5 years, and the CIO role became vacant, and executive management says
to
move to that role. And that's it. The funny thing is, when you've been in this thing long, you keep having funny moments. When I was CISO, I saw a picture I took when I was IT manager. It was at a conference in the UK. So I put the picture up and said, oh, thank God I didn't follow this path. Now I'll be bothering myself with core banking, failing and all that. So like 2 years after,
so
I was in that role. So that's the journey summarized really. There's a lot in there, but you know, it's got it had its ups and downs and all that. But we're here today.
That's good.
Thank
That's
God.
good. That's good. Thank you very much. Togs, I'm happy you talked about security, talked about being a CISO. For you, I know when we started out, to even think about being a CISO, security was one this thing. I know you started out with infrastructure. So when you told me back then you were going into security, and when Iboku said it was coming to join, what are these people talking about? Security. So can you just tell us as well, how did you get into this space now? We're talking about digital trust landscape and all, from an infrastructure background down. Everybody, we're going to talk about cybersecurity in Nigeria today. You have to mention Tokunbo now. How did that happen? Can you just take us on that journey?
Interestingly, like he said, accidental CIO. I think my own too was accidental for security. Something very strange happened early in my career. I was saddled, so I joined this organization. We all know them, one of the unicorns in Nigeria back in the day, InterSwitch. I joined InterSwitch, and one of my first assignments was to host a web server. And I hosted the web server online. We put it online. I was back then. So there were no physical firewalls. They weren't popular. I hosted it online with the development team, and after 2 minutes, the thing was brought down. Wow. We couldn't access it. Then we didn't even know it was brought down. Well, it's not working any longer. Then we installed the desktop firewall on it. Then we started seeing pop-ups, intrusion, and I started clicking, deny, and I did that for like 10 minutes, and I'm like, this is not sustainable. That was how I figured out firewalls, and that was how I got into security from that experience. And I was just like, there's something here. And then it wasn't called cybersecurity or the fancy names. It was information security or network security. And that was how I got into security. And over the years, like you mentioned, being privileged to drive a lot of things from a governance point of view, working with a lot of financial institutions, managing their infrastructure was secure. So not just setting it up, but when it's finance, everything has to be secure.
It has to be.
So did that, implementing security across banks for their processing, card processing. And when you implement, the next thing is, okay, it's working. How do you govern that it's working properly? And that's how I got into governance, assurance, and doing all that. The world is moving. We're just like, how do we productize this whole thing into a concept? And that's how the concept of digital trust and everything came about. So that's a short summary as well of how the journey was.
Yes. Thank you. I know we're limited with time, and also we're trying to ensure that we can cover as much ground as possible. Thanks for that. I know you mentioned about, in a way, being an accidental CIO, but I don't think you are really an accidental CIO per se. So, invariably today you are a CIO. What has been your challenges, or rather, how has the journey really been? Has it been really this smooth as this job to this job? There was an opening and you became a CIO. How has the journey really been, especially with technology changing and all? Like Tokunbo said, when we started out, it was what, network? I remember, let me not call names, and the guys in Telnet back then. It was always network security. Now it's cybersecurity and all that. How has it really been? Technology changing and everything, and today you are a CIO. How has it been, and how will you want people to actually follow your footsteps and also become a thought leader like you in the industry?
Well, the thing about tech is you can't be stagnant. Okay. Things are always changing, keeps moving, and you just need to get involved. And I tell people coming in fresh, it's not about how brilliant you are. It all works, but it's about the interest. You need to be interested in it. You want to be
a part of it.
A part of it. You're learning about new things. When we started, everything was mostly analog.
Yes.
And today, there's so much information that when I meet young graduates, even when they bring them for internship and they say, "Oh, I'm a software developer," the first question I ask you is, where's your portfolio? Have you even built a website, or you are just in school and doing tech the way we studied it? Now, when I left uni, to be honest, I had no clue what I wanted to do. I just graduated computer science. I couldn't write a program to add 1 to 10. I was like, what's this thing all about? But I was lucky in certain ways, the sort of places I found myself. I'm back to that interest because when I was serving at Chevron, for example, I told the guys there that hands up, graduate, but zero. So they started, was like they were
Building
tutoring me again, and when I meet any of them, I tell them I owe whatever I am today to we mentioned some names earlier before we started. Such people sort of helped me. So one, it's about how interested you are. If you are not, you can be the best today. In fact, these days, 6 months after,
you're
out of it because things have moved.
Yeah.
It's so rapid these days that you need to be in the trenches all the time. You can't just sit. Back then we used to say the best place to do your youth service, it's the service companies, not going to a Chevron or Mobile. You are just there entering staff bus and eating free meals. You won't learn anything.
Remember.
So the journey wasn't as smooth as we
think.
We see now.
In
we
fact,
see your outcome.
The guy that taught me routing could not speak a word of English. He was Japanese. The guy comes from Japan, and it was all diagrams. They had an interpreter, but an interpreter can't interpret tech. But the basics, I can't forget it because I can still picture the guy drawing those things. So you need to get in there. Back then I remember I tell people that Windows 95 was my baby. I read Windows 95 resource kit back to back. Pardon my English, I knew that shit.
It's interesting.
It's
interesting.
Then all these brain dumps and all that. You see people. In fact, the first time a friend told me that he did 4 Microsoft exams in 2 days, I looked at the guy
How did you do that?
I didn't know there were brain dumps. The guy now said, you just so cram and dump. So, summary is, it wasn't easy. We're here today. Advice for the guys coming up now, you need to get involved. It has to be what you love doing. When you pick up your phone, rather than go to, even if you're on Instagram, you're following people that are talking about technology, cybersecurity, or what. There's just so much out there now. I went on YouTube the other day and I saw a 4-hour course on introduction to cyber. In fact, I tell you, if you go through that course, you would do a foundation exam in information. There's one CISMP, Certified Information Security Management, Certificate in Information Management Principles. With that YouTube course, you would pass that course. Just 4 hours of YouTube video.
Learning,
And there's just so much out there.
Much resources,
That if I see people, young kids, and they're saying, oh, I'm in year 3, the first thing I tell them is, you're graduating next year, and you're telling me you don't have anything to. We had some kids, so we have a tech program in our training school. So we bring them in specifically for tech. They do, I think it's 3 to 6 months. Then they join the tech organization or be a data analyst or something. So we had a group that came And what I do when they're passing them to me to tech is I just check their profiles on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And there was one of them, I checked her profile, and she had a rich portfolio in data analysis. So the minute she walked into it, I said, Madam, you are not coming to tech, go to data. That's where your passion is. You know, so they need to find what
They love doing.
what they love, you know, and just be the best at it. You start as data analyst and you're just looking at SQL queries and all that. That has blown up again now. Data engineering, data scientist and all that. So you cannot be stagnant. You know, and there's just so much out there that they should be like a sponge.
And grab it.
And just grab and grab and grab and grab. And for the guys in your organization, you're talking to someone like your CEO with his vast experience. You should be bringing ideas to him and saying, oh, I saw this, I'm thinking about this, not waiting for it to be top down. You know?
Thank you very much. You know, when you were saying some things, I just remembered, I think, well, the same era anyway, when you talked about Windows 95. So my introduction to Windows 95 was the Complete Idiot's Guide to Windows 95. But that was back then.
They still make those idiots
books? No. Well, just they are relics.
No, they're not relics. No, they're e-copies now.
Yes, but
that's it.
That's true.
They're e-copies now.
You know, he mentioned something when he was rounding up that you're CEO now, and that what should happen is from the people below, they should bring their ideas up to you, and then instead of you bringing it down. So I want to ask a question. Why did you go into building or developing products? Why didn't you just stay on the same path of, let me get from this OEM, and let me just go, because more or less a lot of people do that. Why go through the pains? What gave you that belief, that confidence to say, I need to do something new?
Interesting question. It's two things, mainly. One is the need to keep improving. Coming from deploying networks, supporting systems, doing service business in cybersecurity is what's next? How do you scale what you're doing? And a big part of that, how do you scale, is you can build it as a product, which is why we now have a product, and we started looking into building the product. That said though, Ade in front of me now was the genesis of building the first product, which is not even the one we're building now.
He used it as a guinea pig.
Oh, so interestingly, it's not a guinea pig per se. So I was in his office then, and we're going to sell a solution around data discovery. And he was like, why are you selling this thing to me? This thing is so simple. Tokes, you're smart. You're smart guys. Why can't you go and write this thing as a software and develop it? And interestingly, I took that as a challenge. And interestingly, that's how I met our co-founder, Ayomide. And I reached out to somebody and said, you know what? I need somebody who is very good in writing software. And I was introduced to Ayomide. And we sat down together and I said, you know what? We need to develop this software, data discovery, because I have a willing customer who has challenged me
to get something for him.
And we developed the software and we deployed it in the bank, and we actually deployed it in 3 banks.
Wow.
But you know,
sorry, this was when?
This was in 2017, 2018.
Wow. So almost a decade ago.
Yeah, 2017, 2018. So we did that, but we had to shut that down because it's one thing to develop for enterprises, but it's one thing to be able to support them, have the mindset. So it was successful, but it was the basis for which we started the Cybervergent platform.
That's good. You know, what you said again, it also goes to what he mentioned when he said you need to keep developing yourself. If you don't develop yourself, there's no way you can remain relevant in this industry. I think that is one thing I've taken again from this discussion that we are having. You know, we have this discussion just by the side all the time, but it's something that everybody needs to take note of. You must keep developing yourself, especially if you're in the tech space. Once again, today I'm with Adeoluwa Akomolafe. He's the CIO of Wema Bank. Thank you for joining us.
Okay.
And also Adeoluwa Omotosho is the CEO of Cybervergent. I'm going to ask another question again, and I think we'll be wrapping up soon. And it's pretty straightforward, nothing too hard. And say, Ade, I want you to speak to your younger self. I'm not saying he's old, we both have gray hair, so nothing, although we're not old. I want you to speak to your younger self. And when you're speaking to your younger self, you're actually speaking to the next generation of CIOs, CISOs, product founders like Tokunbo, yeah? What is that one powerful lesson that you want to share concerning leadership, resilience, and most especially building trust for the future, especially in this space that we play in? What is that one thing you would like to share with them that will help them to stay the course of time?
That sounds like an easy question, but it's a tough one.
It's loaded.
No, but
Because
yeah,
when
but
you're saying one thing, there's nothing like one thing.
Okay.
So it's I guess it's just to say, let me switch it. I posted, and I'll delay us a bit. I posted something on LinkedIn yesterday. I had a meeting with my guys, and I was just listening to everyone respond and all that. So what I posted was saying, you need to self-appreciation
Okay, yeah.
is more important than external
Validation.
validation.
Okay.
You know what they say about the job we do in tech? There is a thankless job.
Yeah, tell
You know,
me about it.
when everything is running smoothly.
Yeah, just
No, they don't even know
no,
you.
you don't
exist.
acknowledge your style. Okay.
You're not there.
You're not there. Things are just working. I'm
Yeah.
using my card. I'm logging
Then the
on.
day
nothing.
something happens.
The day something breaks. So the negative is always amplified,
Yeah.
right? So for tech guys, you need to be ready for all those bumps and ready to, you always have to be a willing learner. No one is an island of knowledge.
Yeah.
You know, you need to squeeze something from everyone you meet.
You need to squeeze something from everyone you
Yeah.
meet.
Getting some knowledge.
Yeah.
Get out some knowledge from
You
them.
know, get some knowledge from everyone you meet. A vendor comes to sell something, you're learning something from that guy, even if you're not buying. You know, a gathering like this, you're picking something, you're watching a movie, there's something you're picking. It still comes down to what I said about being interested. You know, that's the thing about tech. You need to be in it. You need to be living it. You know, you can't just run tech as 8 to 4 or 9 to 5, drop my bag, I'm coming the next day. You know, it doesn't work that way. They need to understand that, look, when I get in here, it's like you're maybe selling your soul to the devil. Seriously. I've done 72 hours non-stop before.
I can relate to that.
Yeah.
We all can relate to that.
I've landed in Arriva in Lagos, and I had 2 hours to catch another flight out of Nigeria.
Okay,
The day my first child was born, I was at the hospital. I asked the doctor, I said, so based on how madam is feeling, how long do you think it's going to take? The guy said, maybe another 2 hours. I said, let me rush to the office to go configure some servers. Zoomed. As I was driving into the office, my mom called.
The baby is
Baby
out.
has arrived.
Ah.
You know, so there's certain sacrifices
You
you
need
would
to
have to make
Yeah.
at those early days. Maybe now I can maybe sit back and say you're managing people, you're just dealing with things at the strategic, high level, you know. But when you're in the trenches and you're
You need to
getting
get
your
your
hands
hands
dirty,
dirty.
it's not an 8 to 4, 9 to 5 job.
Thank you. And really, thank you for all you've shared. But one thing that I really got from resilience. So when you talked about 72 hours, you know, I just remembered immediately. So we had a server that crashed back then, and it was the main server in the organization. We are trying to bring it up during the week, we could not. I was in church on Sunday afternoon and I got a call from my boss. So I left church on Sunday afternoon, went to my house, changed my clothes on Sunday afternoon. The next time I entered my house was Friday night of that week. So I was in the office for 6 days straight. So he has experiences like that as well. You can only have such experiences if you are resilient. And in the long run, you'll be better off for it. Talks, the same question, but I'll flip it a bit.
Yes.
You've built products. You've built companies. Because in the long run, you've built more than one company. I don't want to talk about ups and downs. You know what the ups and downs are. There are people that will watch this that will also want to shape their lives according to you. What is that thing? It says it's not one. What are the things you can tell them that will help them to keep going? Because again, we know it's not every time to be successful. What will keep them going that they will not give up?
It's loaded. It sounds simple, like you said, but it's loaded. Also, there's not one thing. There's a series of things. Your experiences also matter, and the relationships. From my point of view, learn a lot from other people. So there's something I used to tell people. There's a saying, and I tell people we stick to the wrong side of that saying. It says experience is the best teacher, but nobody says it has to be your own. And we all assume it's our own experience.
Okay.
But I can learn from you, I can learn from him, like he said, from videos and everything. But one of the things that I see is very critical is commitment and discipline.
Commitment
to whatever you are doing.
discipline.
It might not be something you like doing at any point in time. So even if it's your passion, there will be some time that you'll be like, I'm not doing this. I can't do this, but you still have to keep going. I'll give an example. When he challenged me to say, you're smart, you're sharp, it was something totally different out of what we were doing at the time. But I took it as a challenge, and I said, you know what, let's go and build this thing. We had series of pains trying to even deploy that first software at that time. But if we didn't keep going, we won't be here now where we are at the point of we've developed our own platform that does a lot more years later. And it was all the experiences. And I tell my co-founder all the time that remember our experience. When we go to a customer and say, the feature you have now is not what we want. Can you iterate it? And we'll go back and let's learn from it. Then we couldn't deploy features fast enough. Now we have to develop it fast enough. So in the world we are now, speed is also important. Learning from people's experiences, your own. There's a lot of information out there that you can learn from. But more importantly is be good to people. And be willing to share your knowledge. So back when we were growing up, people used to say something around people don't share knowledge. And it's still the same thing in this generation. You find people who know something,
They
but
want
you're
to
not
hoard
teaching.
it, so keep it to themselves.
And I have a different philosophy. The more you share, the more I seem to know, or I'm willing to go and know more. And it's very important now that people share, because that's how the knowledge flows. That's how you're able to encourage other people. You don't know, you might just call somebody and say, you know, what are you doing with this? How have you extended this? So people just need to be open to knowledge, share with people. Don't belittle your experiences or people you meet along the way, personally and professionally. And a lot of it is just other things are just interests, what you're interested in, and being committed.
Thank you, Tokes. Thank you very much. More or less, again, like I said, more or less we're rounding up and we've come to the end. We talked about commitments, talked about sharing. I know it's when you share, you actually start mentoring somebody. You can mentor somebody at your level. You can mentor below. For those that are above you that are willing to also be mentored and learn, you can also mentor. Talking about sharing, I can't, you know, again, if you hoard, you're actually really deceiving yourself. Because if you hoard, there will be no space for more to come in. You must give out. You must give out. And I'm happy we're having this first podcast about our leadership series in Cybervergent. And we're going to have many more of these. But again, our aim is to, as much as possible, add value, mentor others, and they can continue from where we've stopped. So once again, let me just say thank you to Adeoluwa Akomolafe, CIO of Wema Bank. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Adeoluwa Omotosho, CEO of Cybervergent. Thank you for coming.
Thanks, man.
My name
I'm in
is...
the building. I don't know where I'm coming from.
Oh, no, because you came to our podcast. You came to our podcast.
Coming from your office.
Yes, and my name is Bamidele Obende. I've been given a new role, so I'm learning something new as well. I'm starting a new life. I'm the host of this podcast. Till we come your way again, we hope that you join us and we'll bring new people, new founders, new builders, new mentors that we will learn from as well. Thank you very much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your day.